Welcome back to From 9 to Mom.
We discussed balancing the 9 to 5 hustle with the beautiful chaos that we call motherhood. And I'm super amped today because we have Cheryl Ann Pavone, my mother, Schoolie, Sherry's Berries. They aren't for sale. She's here with us today. She's been very excited about coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm excited that you're on too. This is going to be fun to dive into some weird things about Danielle and ask some questions and get some fun insight. Okay, so the first question I have is what motherhood looked like for you when you were Danielle's age?
What did it look like, huh?
No, nothing like what you guys, nothing. It was crazy. I was 3 kids, 3 different age groups. I was all over the place and probably drank too much wine.
That's not possible.
I don't remember you drink. Like, I really genuinely don't remember you drinking. Except for one time. One time she came home drunk. I was older.
She was never drunk.
That you could tell.
Okay, I was drunk.
One time. Just one time. She came home in these, she called them her wallpaper pants. Mm-hmm. So she came home. I'd never seen her drunk before. I was in high school at this point. And she was always very open or whatever, but we spiked your hair. You showed us your wallpaper pants, mm-hmm. But you were only, 23 when you had me?
I was 23, yeah.
23, very different. I was 32 when I started having kids.
Sure. So at her age, when I was, you're going to be 40? I could finally leave you guys alone. That was like my biggest vacation, was leaving you alone.
Yeah.
I was never not with them.
I think that's a huge difference too that we'll see with my mom too. How old were you when you had Danielle?
23. And then I had David, at 33, which I thought
he wasn't old. He was an oh shit.
He wasn't maybe a lot like an oh
shit.
We love him anyways. But we love him. The best mistake I ever made.
She tried shopping me away.
I did try shopping her away. I did not. I used to sit out, I used to come home from work on the front porch, me and my single neighbor. Well, she wasn't single. Another childless mom, Diane Donnelly, would sit and drink and watch the kids across the street going, why would you ever do that to yourself? They don't shut up. They cry. They ask way too many questions. And we drink after work, and we both got pregnant within 3 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
And Megan were born. And I said, better you than me, because she went first. And she came over, and literally not more than 2 weeks later, she goes, you sleep a lot. I'm like, I'm tired a lot. She goes, are you pregnant? And I didn't even think anything of it, and I was. So Danielle and Megan were born real close together, and then we were those mothers with Brian.
Yes, good for you. It was awesome.
So can you give us an idea? You were a stay-at-home mom, mm-hmm. all through all 3 kids, but you did go back and work a little bit, right? After the kids went to school?
Not with Danielle, not with Joey, with David. When he was probably in middle school, 9th grade, I went back to work.
Yeah.
We owned a company business, and someone went out, and I was going to help during maternity leave, and unfortunately that maternity leave left me there and her having her baby. So it was perfect though, because it got me back out into the real world a little bit, and I liked the feeling. And it was on my terms. So Joey or anybody had anything to do, I just left.
Yep. And one more time, what's the age between Joe and David?
Joe and David is 7. Danielle and David is 10.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, which is still relevant, what was the harder jump, going 1 to 2 kids or 2 to 3 kids?
1 to 2. By the time I had 3,
because I was perfect.
She was the perfect age. She was a mini mom.
Perfect.
Oh, she was.
I wasn't perfect at all, but Joe was a jerk.
Joe was not a good boy. You might listen to this later.
We love you, but we love you.
True.
I keep hearing many stories of how he was.
They're all true. And they're probably really calm down.
Sorry, I interrupted you as I always do. So what was different between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3?
1 and 2, no one tells you that. Between 1 and 2, you think, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I mean, I wouldn't take her to the store with me because I was afraid that she was going to cry, cause a scene. And then number 2 came along and looked at me when I ain't going there, and booked down the middle of the mall. And this one's going, we're going shopping, right? So there was a big difference between the 1 and the 2. But by the time the 2 came around, I think the other ones start taking care of each other a little bit.
Oh, like David?
Like David,
yeah. When David came around.
Yeah. So it was easier. It was harder on me because I had 2 generations in the house. I had a 10-year-old who was into everything and a baby in my arms, which I carted. The kids slept in the back seat of the car probably for the first 10 years of his life.
It's true.
Yeah.
But
He
you
really
sleep
could.
anywhere.
That's why he can sleep anywhere.
Well, that's the biggest thing with the big age gap like that, though, is that, one of your kids is out into activities already and doing all of those things. So we have to talk about too, because Danielle and I always talk about our parents becoming grandparents.
Mhm.
So you have 4 grandchildren total. What would you say is the biggest shift you've seen from when you were a parent to now how these guys are parenting? What's been the biggest difference? Or some things that are different now, like
We
rules and
started younger, so we were poor forever. Like poor. So there was no girls' weekends or getting away from your kids. It didn't even fit into the equation. I mean, getting away was getting to the basement and not having any kids follow you. That was about as way as I got.
You didn't want to go anywhere.
I didn't. I like my kids. I think my kids were great.
I think that is a big
I
difference.
think that the biggest difference is, and I think it's great. My mother would babysit for me if there was something deadly going on, like an illness, the kids, whatever. But if it came time for me to say, I'm just going to go have a cup of coffee with one of my friends, it was an absolute no. And my mother-in-law, who did do those things for me, worked 40 hours. So she did a lot for me behind the scenes. And my mother did the important things, but not go have a good time.
Do you think it's because like dad worked so much? Like if dad was home, do you feel like you could have done it or still no?
What do you mean?
Like Katie and I will go for girls' nights or dinners, but Jordan or Ryan have the kids.
He didn't make it home in time, ever. It was almost like a plan.
That's a real question. Dad, we love you. You're my hero. If he did make it home in time, would you let him? Would you trust him with the kids? Just honest answer.
If he were alive, would I take home? Yeah. Yes, I would. Oh God, he was a good dad.
No, I know he was a good
He
dad.
didn't bathe though. He didn't know where their teeth were or the toothbrush.
Like that's anxiety, right? Like,
yes, it was a true anxiety.
So like not
You
feeling
had to lay
comfortable.
everything out is like you were showing a 2-year-old how to take care of.
I don't think that's changed to this generation.
No.
I feel like if I leave, I lay everything out, or like they'll be like, "Where?"
Oh yeah, her too. She does.
But I do feel like Katie, they do it more often. Like I don't know if you felt this way. Like I remember you not doing anything, like ever, for yourself.
No.
Like you sacrificed a lot for us, and at the time I didn't know if it was by choice or design, or you didn't. I don't know. Now I know the difference.
Right.
But I feel like because Dad didn't do it as much, like the kids. Jordan had the kids last night. I went out for a girls' dinner. The kids, they were bathed, but like no pajamas. It's fine. Like. Whatever, but I knew that he would be okay. Where like if Dad only did it once a year, it's probably not as enjoyable of a time for you to go out.
No,
and you guys didn't have money.
No, we had no. So it was very.
Not that has changed magically either, but like say like we grew up first, we worked first, we had more money, we had a different lifestyle.
Yeah, before we
had
parents. We got married. 3 months later, they're going, "Are you having kids yet?" No. But 3 years later, I did. So. I was married at 20. I was in 20. You guys were still partying hard. Not that it wasn't. But.
No, you definitely.
What would you say when you were in the weeds? When Joe, Danielle were little, what was the biggest challenge for you? Was it potty training? Was it food? Was it scheduling? Was it sleep?
Scheduling.
Yeah.
Because she was going in one direction, he went in another, and it was never the same direction. She didn't play baseball and was not my athletic child.
What? I'm a national champion cheerleader.
And as Joe says, what does Joe say? It's really not a sport.
It is a sport. I have more championships in high school than he does.
You do.
Suck it, Joe. That comes from you. You can't play sports either.
I can't. I'm not.
You're on the Skipper Sam show. So.
I was on the Skipper Sam show.
She's very, very talented.
I can do the dance still. I'm pretty sure.
So the next question I have is, so when Danielle became a mom, what was the hardest thing watching her go through, whether it's seeing her struggle, seeing her be a good mom, or proud moments? What are some things you remember from when she first became a mom?
I was shocked at how great of a mom she was immediately. Like, it is amazing how you go from, I didn't want the baby, I went shopping, the little circle was going to go away, and all of a sudden there she was, and I became mom. And I watched her do the same thing. It's like, because she was all over the place, having a great time. And she became an instant mom, which is amazing to watch, because then I knew that she watched me, even if she didn't, there was a lot of things she didn't understand even then of what you do as a mother, what sacrifices you make. She learned them as she went along too.
Yeah.
But I think it was great to watch her just fall into that role, and she fell into it so easily, and not without lack of sleep and lack of crazy. I mean, Colton was COVID baby. I think Mickey Mouse was his babysitter.
True.
And potato chips was an afternoon snack. I'm pretty sure it's on video somewhere. So she did what she had to do because it was a difficult time in a different world. So yeah, but she did great. So it was great to watch her.
I had a good role model. But
that goes into one of the things I wanted to ask about your parents, Cheryl. What's some advice or some things you picked up on? We're talking positive. We're going to be positive. Good things that you picked up from them that you knew that you wanted to be when you were becoming a parent, and that you were like, I know I want to do this when I'm a mom, or this is how I want to,
My mom was we were always clean, always neat. There was that image of what you project out into the world comes back to you. My mother's famous saying was, a little powder and a little paint makes you something that you ain't. And if I went out without makeup, she'd look at me and give me the turn like, yeah, you're not all that. Go in the house and put some lip gloss on. But she set a role because she was a 50s mom. I mean, they were in dresses all day, and their hair was in rollers, and
yeah, you never really went out without.
No, and I still to this day
don't.
Very rarely.
Except the one time you got in a car accident and your ex-boyfriend came to the side of the road and you were.
He probably said, "Man, I dodged a bullet with this one."
But I do think you carried that, and then I've carried that as a mom. Even as a person, I won't leave the house without at least lip gloss because you said a little paint.
Yep.
So then the kids, though, everyone thinks I'm absolutely insane because they'll message me why? How do you have them dressed every single day or whatever? And it's just, you always did that. We never left the house without our hair done, clothes. And that's something it's I don't know, pride. I don't know if it's pride or just it makes you feel good. So I
you get up, you make, my mother was, you get up, you make your bed. You shower, you start your day, and you've already accomplished some things. And now you see
she could have made the 5-minute bed thing and been rich.
She could have been rich.
Yeah.
And I have Mike trained, even though he hates all the pillows. I do have.
We'll get into Pat the husband later.
Yes, we will.
This is the first gift.
Yes, the first gift. But yeah, so that came down, and I think it did well because I'm envious when people can walk out the door and look like Katie looks all the time. To me, you're always beautiful.
Not me, though.
It's funny because my mother-in-law has made a comment on that, and I think it's a my generation thing, of I leave the house looking like a mess all the time.
Well,
that's what hats are for.
My girlfriend Tammy Marcucci said, lie. She goes, go to the store, put a hat on your head and tell people you were dressed in gym clothes.
You went to the gym.
And say that you went to the gym, and oh my gosh, you just caught me at the gym. And I'm going to tell you, I used it.
Yeah.
It would catch me, and then I'd hear about it. You went out like that?
Don't I look great?
I look great.
Sexy.
All right. So now I want to stir the pot. What's something that Danielle does as a parent that really either bugs you or you're like, oh my God, I can't believe she does that?
Well, probably won't. No, not really. I think that your discipline is different. I'm not saying that ours was great, because it wasn't. It wasn't for every kid. Every kid has different needs. Like Joey needs to be beat.
But you can't beat kids.
But you can't beat kids today. And when I say beat, I mean, we spanked him a lot on his booty, on his hands, because no was not even a word in his vocabulary. That's what bothers me. They don't know no quick enough. And for me, no means you're not flat by a car as you run out into the street. If I can't get no. So I notice that they don't accept the word no as quickly. And maybe that is because there's no real definition to what happens with no. No means stop. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that bugs me, because I worry about their inability to stop at the street corner when they're going to cross into a road. And I'm yelling and I'm yelling.
Well, I think it's tough. You had kids that all, like, I'm just going to be honest, Colton has ADD already, and you've never had kids that had any issues like that. So when you said no, like Daisy, when you say no to Daisy, Daisy knows no means no, because I just did something naughty. I'm going to go put myself in the corner.
Right. And I'm going to have a fit about it, but you're still not.
But they also tell us, like, you can't you can't hit, they don't say, don't do timeout. It's not effective, which it was clearly effective. You guys did it. Right. So that has to be hard to watch.
David thought he was the Norman Rockwell picture of the little boy in the corner with the dog. He literally thought that picture in his bedroom was a picture of him.
No, it was Joe.
But it was Joe. But no, it was David who thought it was him. He thought the dog was the dead dog that he never saw. And he cried.
They cried a lot about that.
It's funny though, because too, you had Danielle and you had boys. And I'm really curious when we talked to my mom about discipline, because we had all girls. And so like my dad was very rarely a part of any disciplinary. He couldn't, because he grew up with all boys, and it was that way. You got the belt if you were, out of line, and then going to have 3 girls. And I know Michael has said before a few times that Danielle never got disciplined by him.
No. But then he also taught the boys. That's another one. He also taught the boys not to hit girls. Mm-hmm. And that was a big no-no in our house.
Yeah, well, boys shouldn't hit girls.
Ever. There's no reason. So how do you spank a little girl and then look at Joey who just bopped her in the nose because it felt like the right thing to do?
Right.
And not tell him no. And again, got to spank him on the bottom.
Yeah.
But he still...
But I wonder, like, Katie, when we do talk to your mom, like, for you guys, like, you had one girl, you looked at me the wrong way, I cried. Like, so if you had 3 different types of personalities, like, I'm sure one of you, they want to hit one of you.
Well, they're probably more difficult than the other, for sure.
I already know the answer to it, too. But so that's, like, the adjustment for me is, like, when I got disciplined, it was, like, I got yelled at and then, like, told to go to my room. Like, that was some of the end of it. But, like, I know with my boys, it's going to be completely different and they're also just, boys are more physical. Like they want to, beat up on each other and do some things. But already Ryan is like, the boys do not lay hands on mom. Even if they're getting excited and all that, he's like, do not touch your mother.
Yeah, that's Jordan's the same way. Like, there's going to be no. But with girls, like you said, I feel like that does make sense. I never thought about that. Like you can't hit a girl. Right. Tell your daughter and then tell your son you can't hit girls. Right. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess
it was different.
I thought you were going to say that you can't stand. She always comments on this, and you say it in a way that like you're envious, but also like I knew yesterday when you came over to my house and you walked in, I had my brother's, like my future sister-in-law was over because she can't see. She had to go to the doctor. She slept over. She was working in the kitchen. All this stuff is going on. I did not have time to like pick up the dishes from breakfast or whatever. Right. And I looked at her and I said, my mom's going to walk in and she's going to say something. I guarantee you she's going to say something. But she does put their stuff down. She goes, wow. So I thought you were going to say, like, the biggest thing that drives you nuts is that even though you wish you could always say, I wish I was more like this, is that like, because I'm working and momming, the house is not, we could have eaten off our floors at home. Like she would clean the floors. Like I could have literally
that's how we thought
licked a floor.
Right. We felt that defined us. If someone walked in our house and everything was perfect, they go, oh, she's such a good mom.
Yeah, people already know I suck. So I don't have to,
and I did go, wow. Because that just means that for me to function, I have to clean it up.
Yeah, we just want to clean it up too. But like when you have 0 minutes and you have a job that you're working from like until 6 p.m. the night before, 7 p.m., then you have kids who both want you to put them to bed. Like that's not my priority. I thought that would totally drive you insane.
No, I understand it.
You do. Wow. That's what you said to me.
But wow is, I'm just finding the situation.
The moment that you were feeling in that moment, you were just like, wow.
So now to go back to when these guys were little, what do you have a memory of something that any one of the kids did that embarrassed you like crazy? That a story that you tell everybody about when they were little?
So many. It's hard to pick. Which one do I tell the most?
You tell a lot of stories. I'm gonna tell a story about you.
Oh, great! Can't wait.
So Cheryl and Mike Talk about can't get away from your kids. Let's go down the room of not what we did to embarrass them, what they did to embarrass themselves. So back in the day, there was nowhere to go. Sorry. This is really funny. There was we know what it's like with moms now. Like, you don't get a minute of peace. I saw a TikTok this morning where someone was like, your wife doesn't want breakfast in bed. They want to be left alone in a room without you. No one's talking to them. Like,
don't
whatever.
touch me.
Right.
Don't look at me.
And mom and dad were feeling that pressure. 3 kids in the house constantly.
And all their friends.
All our friends. And
Yes.
they just needed some alone time. So they went to the school down the street.
School parking lot.
In the middle
Thought
of the
that
night.
was a great idea.
And guess who showed up?
Please.
Cheryl and Mike. Naked at a school.
Complete.
In my head, you were naked.
Okay.
At a school.
It makes the story
Danielle's
more.
elaborated the story like 5 times.
And then
Pinebrook School, my picture's on the wall.
the most embarrassing thing that I think any of us ever did was still Uncle Jim's wedding. And when Joe threw the pillow, someone said, he looks so cute. He took the ring bearer pillow, chucked it into the crowd at the church, ran the other way, went up your dress,
Up my dress.
started going psycho.
Maid of honor or matron of honor. She was, and my sister-in-law was an angel. She didn't never missed a beat.
I just left him in the dust.
This one just went, you are not stealing my sunshine.
But she said it was a distraction. She actually was grateful for it.
I
But
wasn't.
you were not.
I was not happy.
And Papa Joe beat the crap out of him. He was very good the rest of the day.
He really was. He got beaten bad.
Did I ever embarrass you?
No, you surprised me a lot. You didn't embarrass me unless you want to talk about that 8th grade dance thing that you did up that you made up yourself and ballet across Apollo's.
I knew it embarrassed you. Why didn't you just tell me the truth?
Because you were my kid and I was building you up for never doing that again.
So I was the lead in the 8th grade play.
Yeah. And it wasn't embarrassment.
It was. You just admitted it. Just own it. You were embarrassed.
It was like a wow.
So
moment.
we didn't have a large budget. It wasn't
It wasn't like an Athena play.
It was definitely not the best.
No.
And they let me I've never been a ballerina. She did make me quit ballet. She was honest with me about that.
I didn't. I told her stop.
Because your boobs are going to knock you out. Those were her exact
Those were
words.
my words.
So
Fair.
this character from Send in the Clowns, she was a ballerina.
She was a ballerina, and Danielle was that ballerina, and it wasn't short.
They gave me a really
It
long
was so
dance solo
long
that I
solo.
should have had.
I was just like, oh my god, is this good for Ed?
Because she's mid
I'm the mother. My god, is this gonna end? These other parents were going.
So needless to say, they weren't proud of me in that moment.
I wasn't
but
that proud.
You were proud of my confidence. You
so
did.
much confidence.
So proud. Like, go, you go, girl.
You go, girl.
But I sucked.
That story makes me happy I don't have girls. Because I would feel the same way. I'd be like, oh my God.
I think it was that as well. But also, in the moment, I felt really fucking cool. So
She did. She felt really
thanks
cool.
for not rooting it then. Because
I can tell you now.
Yeah.
But I was honest. I was really super honest with my dad all the time. Like, in an inappropriate way sometimes. Like, telling her that she couldn't be a ballerina anymore. I'm not paying for you to look
Well, you
like
didn't say I couldn't. You suggested that I do the other forms of dance that I was good at.
Right.
And that's what I did.
I just gently pushed you off the ballerina stage.
Well, I mean, there's good reason. We did see someone in my dance studio, sorry if you're listening, knock herself out with her boobs. And
She
I think
did.
that's really what
And I think
inspired my mom
it was definitely something
to
that,
say, like, this is, I don't want her. You were trying to save me from embarrassment. You're like,
Yes.
you're a really good cheerleader. Go do that.
yeah, you're really
Well, that's something as a parent you have to do. You have to steer them in the right direction. I don't think I would let my kids stay in a sport if they were not good at it, unless they were like having the time of their lives riding the
Right.
bench. Like, cool, but like, it is a lot of money to put these
It's
kids
a
in
lot of
sports
money.
for this.
especially when you have 3 or 2 kids and they go in different directions and then it's
Mhm.
double the money or triple the money. So yeah,
Yeah, but you were supportive of me shaking my ass so that when I got to college,
you could dance on a pole
I could dance on a pole
and
or
make
Yeah.
money for
be
yourself.
on the stage. They knew it was a good investment.
That was a great investment with their
It
body.
was. Yeah. So that I'm glad that embarrassed you. I'm glad you had that was like a good solid 3 minutes.
Good, solid.
Love it. You're
All
welcome.
right. So, what's one piece of advice you remember getting as a mom that stuck with you?
Don't remember. I have to be honest, I just don't remember. I think the best advice I can give to anyone is husbands and wives have to be on the same page as to what they expect from their children, of their children, as a family. Because if you don't, they play you like you're divorced. And they're smart. They're so smart. And you see it more than you. My kids knew that we kind of I might have walked behind Michael and went, enough. That's it, enough. But I didn't do it in front of them so that they knew that we were in conflict over their conflict.
Until David came home with the bad report card.
Oh yeah, we covered up him for sure. That was
the first two kids.
The great cover up.
The great cover up.
Great cover.
We never had a bad report card. I would come home, and if I didn't get, I was a weird kid too. So if I didn't get like an A, that my dad would be like, oh, why didn't you get an A plus? There was an A plus. How could you not get the A plus? But Dave came home with the first report card, and I'll never forget. It was the first time he disagreed, like vocally with Dad, other than my clothes. You also stood up for me with my clothes.
Yes, I did.
Because
there was nothing you could do. God gave you those.
Yeah, there's a couple things that you did for me actually that I didn't know about until I was much older.
Yes.
Like I used to get jugs for my jugs at school, and you had a lawyer call.
Mm-hmm.
But like Dave came home with this bad report card, and she's like, Danielle, we gotta do something. We can't let Dad know. Like he can't know about this report card.
He'll kill him.
And I'll never forget sitting at the top of the stairs, like trying to figure out how do we not tell him. But he didn't even notice. It was great. And now David's the smartest one of us all. So good for you, Dave.
But the two of them sat down, which was really cool to watch them. Dad's like super cool. But there's a couple things that just doesn't fly in Dad's world. And this report card, it would be one of them. So we're going to save your life and not tell Dad on you.
Save your life.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how they work.
Yeah, you have to phrase it that way so they know.
But Dad is going to beat you. He's not Mom. I mean, Mom's going to sugarcoat it and be disappointed. However, Dad's going to kill you. And they did. They saved his life, but he is now super smart. David just figured if I could just like skate through it, I would.
He told us he wanted to be a Walmart recruiter.
Did that
embarrass you?
Yeah, no.
They're very happy. I don't know, but even though
like those child, like they're just it's different.
I remember when they told me she had 4 kids. She goes, if I lose one, I still have 3. I mean, I know she really didn't mean it, but the way she said it at the business at like one of our school meetings, I went. But then I thought about it. Yeah, I guess so.
There's some things like you were not like the. There's like things that were funny that you did when you were young, for sure. Like you and Jan drinking during dance recitals, or
we were those
like,
moms.
They were like bad moms, but also good moms. You were good moms, but you were very, very funny.
But you had fun. You had fun.
You know what? My best friends are from Danielle. I mean, if they're not my high school friends, they were my friends that I made through Danielle or one of the other kids. But mostly Danielle, that I still talk to, and we have so much in common because we had that bond of our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like now it's cool now. This is what I hope happens to me, because her best friends are my best friend's parents.
Yes.
So we all hang out together, and it's like a fun adventure. So like, I remember when I was having kids, like you said, I wasn't sure if I wanted them, but I'm so glad I did, and I loved being a young kid mom. But also, I wanted them. I remember looking at Kelly, Janine's her best friend, being like, we want friends when we're older. Like we want that relationship we have with our moms when we're older. So we have to go through the younger stages now. But now I really do like the younger stages.
Yeah, they were so fun.
Do you want to show the book that you gave me?
Yeah.
After she said that you should be on the same page as your husband in honor of Mother's Day.
It's a little hard to see, so make sure you get.
Funny.
I'll hold it up closer.
I don't know if this has
it's hard to see
with parenting, but it has to.
It does, because
for everyone that's listening, we have a book that we're looking at.
My mom gave me this book when I got married, and it's called Pat the Husband. And she said you missed it, but you said you had no money, but you splurged on this.
No money,
back in the
but
day.
this I knew was going to bring in all my girlfriends that talked smack about our husbands so much joy, and it gives us so much joy because you realize. That was something we didn't have. This is something that you have. You two can sit, which is great, and you can say, I get nervous when I leave my husband alone with the kids. He just doesn't do it the way I do it. As you get older, you go, listen, you came home, they're alive. Bonus.
But they did try and kill their husbands. Like mom buttered both sides of the bread. You say that to Dad now.
If you try and kill him. When he misbehaves, I tell him I'm buttering both sides of the bread.
Tammy gave Rich botulism. She really didn't, but he thought he tried to murder.
I mean, we had ongoing jokes, but we only could do it within it wasn't as embarrassing as if me doing this here for him. because more people would hear it. So when we did those embarrassing things, it stayed within our circle. And this was one of our circle jokes. It was called Pat the Husband.
Read like one page.
I will read it because
Well, go to the I really like feel this is a great.
Sometimes Paul does not feel well. Sometimes Judy doesn't feel well either. Sometimes Paul and Judy have the same flu at the same time. Paul thinks he's dying. Relate already? Can you help Judy determine if Paul is really dying? And it's a little pull-up book like Pat the Bunny.
It's a thermometer to
But it
see
gets
if he's
better.
dying.
But it just goes to show you all of these things are things that we've all gone through.
We'll do a reading.
I'm literally looking at.
I think you should do a reading of this
Oh,
book.
no, we're going to let you do a reading. We'll do it on TikTok. It'll be a bonus portion or a YouTube. We'll do a short. At the end of this, when we sign off, afterwards, we'll stay on. Mom, you can read this to everyone. But I thought this was so funny because as much as we love our husbands, and like you said, you and Dad were on the same page, like I think it's so funny because looking back, I remember the conversations, especially that you had with that core group of friends. Tammy, Diane, Janine, Jan, like all my parents, like their core group, and they literally, just like we do, sit and they would just destroy, like if they knew what we did, like blah, blah, blah. And I think that that's so true. Like we have that now, and you used to joke, like we should have our own show. At the time, there was no podcasting. So they were like, we should have our own radio show.
Because we came up with things that were so inappropriate and so funny. But it would stay right here.
Yeah.
Now it's going out there.
Now but you know what else is great about that though is that you get to know that Katie's doing the same thing you are.
Yeah. Did you feel isolated especially as a stay-at-home mom?
Yes. And you guys, and my daughter-in-law Rachel, who's home now, there's not a lot of stay-homes anymore. You really have to search out another stay-at-home mom, and then you have to befriend them, and hopefully they're somewhat like you. I mean, I'm shallow. I'm not gonna lie. I sat next to Diane Nutt and sat next to her because she dressed like me. Figured we could be friends. We like the same clothes. And we're still friends today. But that's how I judged who to sit with in a large group of people. There was no online chat groups for kids that have ADHD so you could all compare notes. There was not, you just sat and dealt with everything by yourself. So it was isolation. And I lived in a great neighborhood where we still see each other in our very first neighborhood. And I say it takes a village to raise a child. And I mean, family, friends. You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you work or you don't work. You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, I think. Like, I know there's a question about this, Katie, but I want to make sure that we ask it to her because you've said something to me before, but I am curious what you'll say now. Okay. Like about having grandkids. Like, we love our kids so much. We didn't understand, like, a mother's love, like, is so different than, there's nothing in it for you, really, right? Like, as a mom. Children? No, like, as a mom. Like, there is. Your kids are in it for you. But there's no, like, everybody else in your life can walk away or choose. Like, your parent is the only one who's really, like, not expecting anything in return. Right. So when you think of how much you love your kids, even though we annoy the shit out of you, like, with grandkids, like, do you love them the same or how do you love them more? What does that mean? Like, why? But I'm glad.
You are the only thing you are to me at this point, and I love you, like, is an avenue to them.
That's a lie. I'm your best friend. You'd be so bored.
No, I would be so bored.
Just kidding. I would be bored too.
We would be bored without each other. She is my best friend. You don't know, you just do. You realize that you're coming to the end of your days, maybe, and seeing how well you taught this generation to go to the next generation and hope that it goes on and on and on and on. So yes, you do love more. And they can do no wrong. Even when they're naughty, you laugh at them because you know what? I don't have to put little Michael in the corner. I don't have to tell Laura not to sit with her. I'm done with that. I told her to sit with her legs crossed like a lady that everybody didn't need to see her move. That's all. I don't have to do that. I could just laugh that she's doing it.
I mean, that's true.
When Daisy does her things, I just laugh going, it's her problem. I do watch Daisy, so I do have more of a responsibility level. So she has to sometimes get disciplined by me, but I definitely try to. I follow her rules.
No. There's no, like,
But I think that's something that we should talk about, though. Like, what are some of Danielle's rules that you don't want to follow or that you like bending that you can say in front of her
Oh
that you
no,
want to be able to keep?
rule that I don't like or I do like.
Like, I like that. No, like, what are things that you break? Like, things that I tell you, you need to do this, and then you did the opposite.
Oh, I
anyway.
feed them whatever they want. Diet Coke.
How many times did you lie to me about feeding them something for the first time?
Every day.
They don't need to eat that. I worry about stupid things because of their allergies, so that would bother me. And I'm like,
You let her
Okay.
eat a baby.
please don't choke on this. What?
You let her eat the baby.
What are you doing? Who the hell knows?
She
what
ate the
that
baby.
is? I think she did. That's why she was a baby. She pooped out a baby. She gave you the birth at 2. I don't know what to say.
It's like one of my dad's clients gave that we all have
Grandma
nut allergies.
Grandma Nona's cake from Louisiana. And inside this cake, the big fun of it is who can eat it, who can't. They tell me I gave them Munchausen's disease.
Yeah, we lied and say she gave us Munchausen.
Yeah,
we
they
don't really know what we're allergic to.
They don't know what they're allergic to.
We don't say that. Our spouses say that.
Yeah.
So the in-laws think you gave us Munchausen's.
When one had a nut allergy, they all had
Gypsy Rose over here.
Right, right.
But this little bakery thing with the nuts on it, everybody took a piece and ate it. And inside every one of these things are a baby, a little baby, a brown baby or a white baby. You just don't know what it's going to be. But we all ate the cake and didn't find a
There's
baby.
no baby. So we called this.
So now I
I
called the police going, what are the chances are one of these kids ate the baby? How big's the baby?
That's the day
Is the baby
got
How
that
big is
baby.
right?
So we think she ate the baby.
We think she. But who's
That's
going?
amazing.
Yeah.
But you do things like there was a night that Joe and Rachel, you were babysitting, and we were all still there, and they asked you to do something before bed, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that." Like she does that a lot. Like she'll just be like, "Yeah." But we figure like
they're alive.
they're happy, they're loved. You love them the most,
right? Are you going to let them put them in their bed? Yeah, no. Sleep with them. Yeah, things like that. I mean, if you leave and you go to Italy for 5 days, I just need to survive.
Oh, you can only go to Italy for 5 days?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying to me, go to Italy for 5 days.
I would watch your baby for 5 days.
I know you would.
They're easy.
I just would like to.
They're all easy, but no, you did do what you got to do to survive at 63. It's a whole lot different than 23 and 33.
Yeah.
When they go to sleep, I go to sleep with them now because they're going to wake me up again.
Keeping you young. We went to dance class this morning. She's a ballerina.
I am ballerina guy. I will not be on
She's
stage.
not. She's sure as hell not letting you go.
Listen, I'm a great dancer. Ballet, not my strong suit, but I can still educate. The best teachers were not the best doers. Let's not lie. You weren't that great, and neither was.
No, we're not.
At ballet, we just weren't made for that. Like we were made to be maybe strippers or.
This is a funny Mike
Exotic
story.
dancers.
Funny Mike story about dance and what you let your kids do or don't do.
Yeah, you lied.
I lied. I do little lies. I'm not good at lying.
You're terrible. But tell the story.
But he said he was not going to pay for Danielle's jazz class. So that's why I only did tap and ballet for so many years because he said he's not paying to teach her how to bump and grind. She'll figure out how to do that all by herself. That was his words. And I lied. And all of a sudden, I let her do it. Not only did she do it, she did it like Debbie does Dallas on a stripping pole. She did it so well that the teacher put her right dab in the middle in front of grandfathers who were having no part of this, husband that was going to kill me.
He didn't know I did that.
No, all of a sudden here she is right in front of the stage in front of my husband and the grandfathers. And I think 2 of the 3 got up and left.
Yes, they did.
They did. They were mortified by her shaking of body parts that they didn't want to know she had.
Yeah, that's true.
And I did lie. So it did come and bite me in the booty later, but.
I mean, you guys are very supportive of me now.
Yeah.
You are the first investor in some of my very interesting business ideas.
Yes. I still do.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're supportive. You were always very, I'll say that for the record. She's always been very supportive. And you always explained what she was like the mom that all my friends went to. Everyone was always at our house. Like, even when we weren't there, they were at our house. They broke our phone once, dropped it in the pool. My mom wasn't there. They called me at work. Like, everyone was always at our house. There were people sleeping everywhere, and she didn't care. She let everybody come over. She would explain things to everybody, and you would explain difficult things to everybody, like the birds and the bees, or not to be the first one to have sex with somebody, or like what happens. Because I think that you didn't get that necessarily.
I didn't get it, so I felt like being as honest with them about boys. I mean,
She
just
said
said
that
it
they
like
would
it was.
stick it in a tree hole if they could. They'll stick it anywhere.
It's not a lie.
It wasn't a lie.
You'll see. Those showers are going to get longer and
Oh,
longer.
it's going to be terrible. I already know that's going to be bad. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to survive.
The things you've seen, the things you've found as an adult mom.
That's what I had. One of my questions was going to be, what's something that Danielle did that she thought she got away with, but you knew that she was doing?
I don't know. Again, Katie, I hate to say this about her, but she really was an easy kid.
The first time I thought you didn't know. Remember the first time I really got drunk, though? And I curled in bed with you.
And you called back and went, God, you smell like...
But you didn't say anything to me.
I didn't. I knew she was drinking.
You asked me to walk to Wegmans to get you stuff.
Yep.
So that I threw up on the walk.
Yeah, there we go. I said, just get out. I was mad.
I told her everything. The first time I saw weed, called my mom. The first time I
opened the door,
called my mom.
I think that my mother made me lie about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had such expectations of what a girl was supposed to look like. You know, girls are to be seen and not heard. Okay, that went real well for me. You know, the things that they taught me, I tried, and not that they were bad parents, it's just the generation handed down. So with her and my sons, I wanted them to have opportunities to tell me the truth. Because I also had a lot of people die
from not telling
truth, where they were, what they were doing. My mother didn't care that I was drunk, just be home by 1. So, I mean, I'm getting in the car.
And that's when drinking was 18.
And drinking was 18. And she didn't care. She just wanted me in the house at 1 o'clock, even if I was calling and being responsible, going, hey, I'm at Perkins, I'm having coffee, because there was no option of coming to get me. It was just get home. So, okay, I did the wrong thing and went home because that's what they told me to do.
There's really nothing I did that you didn't know about. You should blame me for things that I didn't do. Like David.
No, really, I think that...
Like the Mother's Day of the sex toy.
Oh, sex toy.
That you found that was not mine.
Sex toy Mother's Day was probably the absolute best Mother's Day.
Sorry, I know this is inappropriate for the podcast, but we have to tell it because it's the best.
It is the best. I'm cleaning. And she left the house for real, and left a lot of crap laying around.
I thought it was wasteful.
And she was wasteful. She had a lot of money, very young, which I didn't have. So again, a little jealousy.
Yep.
A little jealousy, but a little like, how could she have a whole makeup bag full of makeup and just leave it behind? I mean, I'm lucky I have what I have.
Wasn't makeup.
It was not makeup. I reached in and there was on top a thing of Skoal. Which clearly led me to the boy section of the problem.
In my makeup bag.
In her makeup bag. And then there was this thing that I had to educate myself on, because
you called me.
The thing was, I am holding this rubber thing in my hand. She's like, drop it, drop it, drop it. I don't know. It's called a Doc Martin. Mom, drop it, drop it. Like,
don't touch it. She's like, but I'm looking at it. It has lips.
It is.
Put it down.
And I'm like, I'm being like such an idiot. Wait. So I dropped it. And I'm like, Joey. My eyes went right to Joey, not poo-poo, but Joey. And I called him up and I went, are you that dumb that you left this behind for me to find? I mean, obviously it's his because he's a baseball player and he does Skoal and that's his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. So
the brother, he did take the fall.
He did. He took the fall.
Oh, he took
abuse like no other. And David is at the store currently buying me the candy bar and the rose because it's Mother's Day and he forgot, clearly. And he walks in the backyard with this. My kids can't lie. Like, I can't really lie that well.
Joe called him,
said, Mom, I just took crap from you because Mom found your friend. Oksana. It had a name.
Hey, this is going to happen to you for sure.
It had a name. And David walks around the back with this smirk and I went, it was yours? And I started beating him.
It's so funny.
You're such a pig. But apparently a lot of the boys had Oksanas. They just had different names.
Yeah. But you found David's on Mother's Day. What a beautiful thing.
Not
Katie's frozen. I don't know if it's because we froze or she froze.
I don't know.
I'm going to ask. Who froze?
Who froze?
If you're watching us, one of us is frozen.
We have to go. We have to get the baby.
In a minute, yeah. Yeah, we lost Katie.
Or maybe
We're still recording, I think. Yeah, we're still recording.
Okay.
I don't know where Katie went. She's going to come back.
She'll come back.
But yeah, that was a good story. I'm glad that happened to you.
Yeah.
What do you want for Mother's Day this year?
I really had the best Mother's Day last year because your husband messed up.
Yeah.
Which was to my benefit. I like to be around my kids. I love my kids. I love being a mother. I love being a grandmother. Just love my family. They're the best. Best thing I ever did. Not even joking. That's not even baloney. As much as
You've always said that.
I've always said it. Best thing I ever did. And
I
you know,
know.
I was sad being by myself. My husband worked all the time and seemed to have a life. But in retrospect now, how lucky was I that I got to be with you all the time?
Yeah,
It's something that you really look. It makes me look teary-eyed.
Oh, I share, bro.
Because I love them.
We love you too.
I do. I love my kids.
Yeah, but you made us, all my friends say it, we all say it, you make us all want to be great moms because you were the best. But with that, I don't know where Katie, here she's back.
Hi, Katie.
You just
Back.
missed a very,
Sorry.
we had a very,
sentimental moment. That's okay.
Good.
after
can't
Oksana
wait.
signed off, she was just saying, I asked her what she really wants for Mother's Day. And last year they did a special surprise for us. We went on the boat and we came back and all the grandkids and the
dressed like
boys and her
wieners.
kids were dressed up. They gave us entertainment. Davis gave us a little dance. The kids served us. And she was just saying that, like, being a mom's the best thing she ever did, even though it was lonely at times.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was lonely at times.
But you have the most kids to this day. Like, all of our friends, all of our, everybody, like,
No, and I consider,
experience.
but I do consider them part of my,
Your family.
yeah,
You built
Mhm.
I do. I love that.
So I
love
I can
kids.
be like I want to be just like my mom.
I want to dance just like Dan.
I'm already becoming you. I walk into their own cars. It's fun. You becoming her.
You do. Eventually, you do become a version, hopefully a better version.
I don't know, man. You're pretty funny,
It's
but it's all good.
all good.
But it's Mother's Day, so we're gonna have a great Mother's Day.
Mother's Day is
We're
going to be
do
great.
we're gonna
I
do a
wish
reading.
you guys a happy Mother's Day because you're right now in the trenches, and what that looks like for you guys is different than me. For me, I want you around. For you guys, you might want a break.
Nah. I do want a break. I want a break first, and then I want to be spoiled by them. I want to spend
Right.
time.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, they are. Enjoy it. It's such a short little window
Of time.
It is. It's so short. You look at them and go, like, I think I've been sending out a lot of things about baseball because we've been on the baseball field. But 1 minute you're
Okay, you
this
live that
big.
life too.
1 minute they're this big and you're going, God, he's out in the field picking daisies. The next thing you're at a senior game and it's over with. I mean, and then they don't care if you're not there anymore.
They do too.
They do.
Kids always care for that.
They do, but not the same. Not like,
I do that.
They expect you to be there, kind of.
especially with, I would go back and watch that horrible ballet.
I mean,
one more
maybe,
time.
like she was in both my labors, and so was my dad was there too. Like my parents
yeah.
were in there. I looked
Yeah.
for them.
I did. Yeah, I don't want to do that. That I was.
She was a champion.
I didn't see my own children. I had 3 babies, but refused to look at any of the.
You and Dad have seen it all.
And with her, I did say to Jordan last time, she will never be doing this again. I don't know.
Like, I'm going right now, actually.
I'm done.
Basically what he did.
It was hard. It was hard to watch. It's hard watching your kid be in pain, even though you know they're going to live through it. It's just you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So it was hard to watch her be in that kind of pain. And I was lucky I got to be there for all of their births, not right in the room, but right there. So that made it special too.
Definitely.
Well, Mom, thanks for coming on Mother's Day episode.
I'm glad.
You got to clock back into getting Daisy.
I
We got to clock
Yes.
back into a meeting.
to go to work.
And we'll recreate a reading for those of you in a separate
That book is
video.
available on Amazon, so we will be sharing that link.
I really want her to read it because you read it to me back in the day when you gave it to me, and it's so funny. So we'll do a dramatic reading of Pat the Husband, a parody, and we'll clock out now and clock back into all of our 9 to 5s, which are not normal. It's fine.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Happy Mother's Day, Katie. Happy Mother's Day, Tommy.